Good morning, everyone. Welcome to my hobby home. My name is Cathy. Thank you so much for joining me today. We are going to go on and get right in. I am doing a quick, small project today. I am doing the last project in my Liberty box. This is called the Sparkler Star. This is the second project that was in our Liberty box. It is a small wall hanger. It does have a little rack to hang. I guess they're called minis. This is the 3-star fabric holder is what that's called. It's a real cute little hanger. I'm going to slide this back in my package here so I don't lose it. But guys, I hope y'all are having a wonderful start to your day. It is early morning for me. On a weekend, it's 7 a.m. And it is already 80 degrees. So I hope y'all are doing wonderful and staying cool. And just hoping the best for everybody because it's getting pretty hot here in Louisiana. We've had... my thermometer registers in the shade 100 degrees. So, and it's off my back porch and it's still registering 100 degrees. It's under the porch in the shade, still 100 degrees. It's not 100 degrees right now. It's 80 degrees right now at 7 in the morning. So it's going to be a pretty rough one, I'm afraid. But we're going to be doing some sewing and not worrying about the weather. So let's get on into it. This is our little sparkler star. This is going to be a real quick, we're hoping, project. I want it up before 4th of July. Let's go on and get this done. The instructions do tell us a 1/4 inch seams and press open. So we have already cut our squares and drawn our diagonals on it. And we're making half square triangles. And I have 2 of them that I'll be making. So right sides together as always. And we are just going to get into it. Like I said, I hope this is a quick project. And I have a feeling this is going to be lovely. I did not have the white that they use in the photo, but I'm thinking this is just using the scraps that you had left over from your sparkler quilt. And I don't believe I had any of that white. I think I used just a plain white instead of the white with the stars on it. So I'm just using plain white. And I'm also not using the blue with the blue stars. I had the blue with the polka dots. It's just what I had in my stash or my scrap bucket back here that I'm saving all my scraps to make a red, white, and blue string quilt. And I just pulled some scraps out of that bucket to make this. Now, I didn't think about it, but I am going to need some to back it and bind it. This little project is showing bound in the same fabric as the squares around the outside, but I don't know. I don't know if I have enough of that. Now that we have our little star pieces completed, we are just going to assemble the block. Y'all, this is so simple. Yes, and I have a lot of concentration going on right now because it's still kind of early in the morning. And yeah, I'm trying to give up caffeine, and it's not going very well. So what I'm going to do is all the first blocks of the rows, and then I will do the third one. This way I can just do a continuous sew and not have to worry about it. So guys, what are y'all crafting and creating this weekend? I'm doing this before I get out in my garden. And then my sister and I are going to go have breakfast. Our normal thing we do on a Saturday morning. It's just according to how early my sister calls as to how early we head out to go have breakfast. Now I'm putting my third piece on that row. But we're completing this third block on this row. And I will now press them out. And the reason I went on and did that is since the pattern is calling for me to press everything open. And I don't really want to press it open. I want to press it where it will nest. I can do each row individually. And I can press one towards the center piece. Then I could press one towards the outside pieces. And then one towards the center. And that way they will nest. I will be right back. I now have all of my stars done. But I think... Yep, they're looking right. I was thinking I may have had them go in the wrong direction, but they all look like they're going the correct directions. So now what I'm going to do is pin the two pieces together, and since I pressed them the way I did, I can nest them. Yeah, this is, and I'm going to try to do the whole, oh goodness, I can't get that pin to go in there. There we go. I'm going to try to do the whole project at one time, the backing and all of it, because it doesn't look like it's going to call for a lot to back it. And it actually doesn't show how to do the back. So we only get cutting instructions. We don't get finishing instructions. And somehow I have to put a little pocket on the back. So I will have to figure that out. So it may not happen in this video. But I'm going to try. I've kind of squirreled away here on my thoughts, but I'm sitting here thinking about what my day is going to hold. About my sister and I just sewed it the wrong direction. Yeah, I've been doing that a lot lately. I don't know what's going on with my brain here. So a project that was supposed to be really quick is quickly turning into a not so quick. And I thought I had them laid together how they were supposed to be. But I'm going to go ahead and pin my seams going the other direction. So I know this is the side that's supposed to be sewn, not this other side. Let me rip that first stitch out. Let's separate. Slide that ball under it. Maybe I should give a lesson on how I rip so quick, because it's because of this. I get so much practice at it. And it never fails. I have to rip probably something out of every single project that I do. But now we are going to sew the correct side. And I'm taking it slow when I hit those seams because I have those pins holding those together. So I want to make sure I don't mess that up. And I'm going to go ahead and press this so I can have it flat. Okay. That still looks wrong, doesn't it? It still does. But according to this, it's correct. But when you sew it on the wrong side, you want to make sure to press it before sewing it again just to kind of knock out all those little strings and stuff. From experience, that's what I have found works best. I like to go on and press it so the fabric goes back into place, and there's all the little holes are gone and all the little threads are gone out of the way. But that was a quick fix. It didn't take very long to do that. Hey, yeah, life happens. But if life happens, just grab a seam ripper. Take care of it. You know, that would have dramatically affected my finished product. So, of course, I had to fix that. That was not artistic liberties. That was just plain out, I messed up. But a mess up can be fixed up. So that's what we did. So now I'm going to press this, and we'll have our block, the inner part of our block, completed. Now have our inner part of our block completed. So now what we have to do is add our sashings to the side of the block, and I am just going to attach these. Yeah, I can't see with these glasses for nothing. I try to wear these glasses because they create less of a shadow, and these are darker, but I can see so much better with these on. Okay, and we're going to just get this done at a 1/4 inch seam. Going to put our sashing on the other side. Now I'm using the blue with the polka dots on it. And it's all from the same line, the Old Glory. I've been working with a lot of Old Glory here lately. You know, I have my wall hanger. I haven't hung it up yet, which I will hang it up. And it'll hang in my living room the month of July. And I have my Sparklers quilt also that was Old Glory. And I'm going to get that trimmed this weekend and bound, so I can have that also for the 4th of July. And then I'll have this cute little thing here for the 4th of July. So I am going to go ahead. Oh, and I have my table topper too. So that's going to be great. My living room is going to be all 4th of July. So I'm going to press so I can then add my top and bottom sashing. Okay, so now I'm ready for my top and bottom sashings. Y'all see, this is a real quick project. And the only thing I am going to be editing out is, like when I press and trim. You don't have to see all that. But we are making quick work of this project. Now my sashing on the top is a little short, which I know I cut it exactly the length it said, but my seams may be off a little bit, which is perfectly fine because I can trim up or catch in the binding if I need to. And I could have cut it a 1/4 inch too short. I mean, that happens. And you know, I mean, a lot of things have been happening here lately. It's like my mind is in a different mode, apparently. But it can happen. So what I'm going to do is press this, and I do have some of my spare fabric, and it's this large piece of scrap fabric I had of this here, but I'm going to press this out and then see if I can't figure out a backing for this. Okay, guys, I finished pressing it and trimmed it. It's perfect. So once I trimmed it down to the correct size, it works great. So I did get a piece of my scrap fabric, and I just cut it bigger. Let's see here. I cut it bigger than what I'm marking. And I had a piece of batting. And I do need to cut a small strip to attach. It's going to be going inside of the binding. So I'm going to just go ahead and layer my fabric and all up. I probably need to cut my batting the same size as my backing. So 1 second. Okay, now I have my batting the same size as my backing. Just need to make sure that when I do this, I'm just doing a stitch in the ditch around the inside part of the outer border, just to kind of adhere that to one another. So we are just going to go in, and I'm using the dove thread, which you will not be able to see. And I know I'm sitting here talking about preparations for 4th of July, having all of that. If you celebrate the 4th of July, I hope it is safe. You have a very safe 4th of July. No one gets hurt by sparklers or anything. I hope to see my grandbabies for the 4th of July. I was talking to my youngest daughter the other day, telling her what I should do from now on is take the 4th of July week off, and that way we could, I could keep the grandbabies when they get older, of course. But I think that would be so sweet to keep the grandbabies for the week of the 4th and give Mama and Daddy's, both of them, a little break, even if it is for that week. And that way I'll have a week I could spend with them. Because I tend to take a lot of time off, like right at the beginning of summer. Because I'll tell you, summertime, I don't mind being at the office. I use their electricity instead of mine. Okay, so I am back at the beginning. I am going to trim out, and I'll show you here. It's just a simple around the backing, and I don't know what it is, but this batting, boy, it holds that fabric right in place. But I am going to trim this and cut my binding and my hanging strip. I don't know how I'm going to do my hanging strip, but I'll have to figure that out. I'm probably just going to do a pocket on the back of it, and that's probably what I'm going to do. Just do a small pocket that attaches to the top and bottom. I haven't really decided yet, but I'll figure it out. Okay, so I cut me some 2.5-inch strips for binding. I'm going to sew 2 of them together. I don't know how much I'm going to need. I'm probably not going to need, well, this isn't a full 2 strips. It's not a full 2.5 by width of fabric. It's not that, because that fabric is a fat quarter. So I think it's a fat quarter. It may not be a fat quarter, but it's not a full yardage, because it is a scrap. So what I am doing is going to go on and sew this and press this, and I did cut a smaller piece to do as my little sleeve to hang it with. Okay, so I have my binding pressed, and this is going to be my pocket for the hanger. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to sew the edge together, because I'm going to have it a solid pocket. I'm not going to have like a raw inside. So I'm just stitching this closed. Now this may not be how most people would do it, but this is how I'm doing it. And it's probably not the best way to do it. But this is what my brain could come up with at the moment to do. Because I know how I want this to connect. I just want a small pocket. So I do have this pressed in half. So I am going to put a pin. I'm going to put a pin in it to hold that fold. I'll put more than one pin in it. Y'all are witnessing my brain at work, because there's not a pattern here. And this is supposed to be simple, but for new quilters, beginner quilters, sometimes things aren't really easy, you know, to think about, because you're not quite sure of how it will work. But I have this done. I'm going to just lay it down here. It may be best if I go on and pin it. It is a little bit bigger than my back. So that's what I'm going to do, is go ahead and pin it to my back. I should have measured that and made sure it was the same size. It's just a little bit longer, which I don't want this to get caught up in my bind on the ends. So I have to remember that. So that may mean that I may need to, well, I can't get my pin to go out and back in. Okay. That may mean that I need to trim this a little bit. See, I'm having to think this through all the way, because I don't normally put hanging pockets on my projects. So I'm not really familiar with how to do them. So I just went on and put this on the back. I'm not sure yet how I'm going to do that. But in order to start my binding, I think I'm going to do it where it comes together at the bottom. And I'm just going to lay that on there and start. I'm going to start close to the end, and that way it gives me enough room. I am going to stick. This is not going to be at 1/4 of an inch. I believe this is going to be more like 3/8 of an inch. And I'm checking for that to make that corner there. And this is the easiest way I have found for me to get my binding correct, is I go on and stitch about 1/4 of an inch to 3/8 of an inch away from the edge, and then I just have to fold it back around. And I'm going to go about that same length away from that corner there. And what I'm doing though is catching that corner in. And you may notice I do not have a walking foot on my machine, but I have this right here. It's a dual control foot or feet or whatever they call it. And it works just like that. Okay, I'm thinking I'm going to have to trim my hanger thing. I'm pretty certain I am, because I've got to stitch it down. So I'm just going to trim that end off so it will have a raw edge there. Uh-oh, I got off on my seam there. I started doing 1/4 of an inch. And I need to do a little bit bigger than 1/4 of an inch. But that's okay. All I had to do was go back and re-stitch. Y'all are seeing all the goods today. So I am turning my bind here, making sure I'm matching up. Make sure I go to the right line on my machine this time. Now I'm lining it all up. Now I do need to trim this end as well. And this is very thick right here, y'all, because this has the hanging sleeve and it has all of the quilt stuff in there, you know. We've got all the layers of the fabric there. Yeah, I might not have needed to do the 2 strips, but I'm glad I did. I have to get this where I can see it. And for those that binding is not your favorite thing, it's not mine either, because I'd rather be sewing than binding. But do not let that stop you from finishing something. This is, I don't know if it's a cheater bind or what, but I watched several videos on how to bind, and this one is the one that seemed to have spoke best to me. And binding comes with practice, but binding should not hinder you from finishing a product. Although I do have one that I am going to do a different binding. I'm not doing just this standard binding on it. So it is going to, I have a quilt over here, so it still needs to be bound. So this here, I'm almost back to my starting point. So, but I do want to get a couple stitches in here, and this may be too small of an area to do it the way I do it, but I'm going to see if I can do it. Where's my little, y'all, my little Cathy is kind of run away from me. And y'all, this project here will clear out my Liberty box. So my Liberty box is now empty. So, but first thing I want to do is, I'll do it where you can see it. I want to see, I do need to pull it back some here because, oh, this is going to be so tight to work this. Now, I am going to pin my binding when I turn it because I don't want it to move. And I'll show you why and explain why. And I am going to press over these pins. Make sure these are Wonder pins. They are heat resistant, so you can do it. You can press these. They can get caught under that iron and it won't hurt them. I normally try not to press on my pins, but just in case, these are heat resistant. And what I'm doing is measuring up my sides to join these 2 pieces, and I will try to show you the best I can. I pull them together and leave, that looks more than about 1/8, but it is about 1/8 of an inch between the 2. Let me press real quick. Okay, now that I have this pressed, see, there's where I joined the 2 pieces right there, and I actually don't need that much, so I am going to just trim that. Notice that I'm not trimming this way, because the first thing, you never cut until you have attached the 2 together. So what we will do here, that press has created a line in it. I don't know if you can see that, but what we are going to do, first thing we're going to do is pinch up our fabric here to get this part out of the way, because I don't need that in my way while I'm trying to attach my 2 strips. I have 1 strip, if I can get my hands on it, and I'm going to open it and lay it flat. And this is going to be very hard because it is a small, and a lot of times I do these wrong. This is a small area. I think what I'm going to do is open up a little bit more on this side. You just about need a whole side to attach. because the general rule of thumb that I use is 6 inches, and that makes it easier to attach. That gives you enough room. Okay, so maybe that few more stitches, I'm not going to say inches because it may have given me 1 more inch, but we're going to take this fabric, this side, and we're going to lay it face up. And then we're going to take this fabric and lay it face down. But when we open it up, we get a crosshair. And we're just going to lay the two just like you would when you're making your binding. So this is going to be very hard to do because it's hard to open your fabrics all the way. But I'm trying to find those cross marks, put them together. I'm going to give myself a couple more stitches here because this is entirely too tight to do. Okay, give us a couple more stitches there. But what you're wanting to do is line up that cross mark. But like I said, I normally work with 6 inches of binding to do this, and I don't have that amount of space available. Okay. So now I have to try to sew on the diagonal. Let's hope this is correct because I don't have enough room. I'm gonna have to give myself a little room here on this end. I've got to. I don't like doing that but that's the only way I can do it to lay it flat. So let me get this marked. Okay, now this is going to be quite tricky. I'm hoping this works because I've never done a bind. Put a binding together in such a tight area. So we're going to check and see. This, I may have even done it the wrong direction. Oh, let's see. Keeping my fingers crossed. You always want to do this before you trim. You want to make sure, yeah, I'm going to have to re-sew that down. Okay, it looks like it's perfect. Now look at this. That is going to be perfect. So I am going to trim this excess and press and be right back. I pressed it in on itself, so it will have to work. So now we are going to get this stitched back up. Okay, so now I have completely attached the binding. Now we have to flip the binding, and this sometimes is a tricky part, especially since this is so small. Oh, I may have made that too small for my... Oh, I did. Yeah, I should have just put that on that quarter, but I think I made it too small. Yep, it's too small. Oh goodness, oh goodness, oh goodness. I'm going to have to take that out, and I'm only going to take it out where that fabric is though, and pull it down just a hair. I should have only done 1/4 of an inch on that fabric. I could even remove that and just tack it in. That's just too big of a seam for that little piece of fabric there. But I could always, I know what I'm going to do to fix that. I have it folded in half. All I'm going to do is unfold it in half, slide it right back into here. Make sure it is on that edge because then I will have a full pocket. Okay, and I'm just going to stitch this back down. Yeah, we are being creative this morning. Now let's see how that works out. It's going to have that raw edge, but if I don't want that raw edge, I can always do something about it. But it's fine with me. I'm going to turn all of this. Now I'm hoping that it goes all the way around and folds over the way I'm wanting it to. But we shall see. Now I put it together at the base, so that is where I am going to start, is at the base, because I do want to make sure that covers it up. And when I do this, I like to stitch my bind at 1/8 of an inch. from the edge. And that way it catches there on the edge. Now, this is going to be that dove gray. So what I need to do is fold that piece over and then this piece over to miter that edge. And in order to do that, I'm going to need to put something sharp right there to hold that edge. Okay, and with my needle still down, I'm just going to, whoops, I need one more stitch to tack that in. We are going to continue on. And don't let that roll up your seam there. Don't let it roll your binding up when you're doing that. Make sure you're not rolling your binding. Because if it rolls, it'll give it a pucker. And you don't want a pucker in it. I'm going to press this corner before it gets here. That way it'll poke. Yeah, that way it'll look better. Okay, so we are down in that fabric right there. And we're just turning and burning here. Okay, y'all, so now we are on the home stretch. So let's see, once I get this, there we go, we have attached. I'm going to trim, if I can find my little scissors, I'm going to trim some threads here and hang it up, and then I'll show you what it looks like. This is what it looks like without it. Let's see what this looks like hanging on our hanger. Now, of course, I can't get the fabrics to come apart. Well, I think it's supposed to go the other way. Here is our little hanger. Is that not precious? That's so precious. But, guys, this is the second project in our Liberty box. This project has emptied that box out. I have everything done in that box. I have my sparkler quilt and I have my small project here. So guys, tell me what you think. Thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. I've had a blast making this. I had to think a lot about it, but got the project done. So now y'all get yours done. Or if you didn't get the Liberty box, find something else. I would like to wish all of y'all a fabulous holiday season, because we are coming up on 4th of July, and I know a lot of people are traveling this weekend and next weekend for the holiday. So please be safe with this. With the sparklers, with the fireworks, with the heat. Y'all, please stay hydrated. Leave a comment. Tell me what you think. Tell me some of your celebrations for the 4th of July. If you don't celebrate the 4th, what do you celebrate this time of year, and how do you celebrate it? I do try to respond to each and every comment personally, and as always, until I see you again, have a very blessed day. Goodbye.